UFC 308 takes place today in Abu Dhabi, and the main event is for the Featherweight Championship of the UFC. It's Ilia El Matador Topuria taking on the blessed one, Max Holloway, the BMF champion. The co-main event is Robert Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles taking on Boers. Hamzat Chimaev is back after a year away from when he fought in last October in Abu Dhabi against Kamaru Usman. This card is great, but I wanted to start with the main event because this main event has a lot of implications on the future and in the present, because Ilia Topuria cemented his legacy back in February when he knocked out Alexander Volkanovski, and that was just unbelievable, and he just did it in such a calm way to him, and he's everything but that outside the cage. He's very cocky, he's brash, he likes to talk trash to everybody. He's calling out people from all different divisions. He's calling out Bilal Muhammad at welterweight. He's calling out Islam at lightweight. He's calling out different champions. But he needs to focus, and his focus better be on Max Holloway, because this might be, and to me, is his toughest challenger to date. Max Holloway is a top 3 for me striker overall in the UFC. He's that good. He's good everywhere. His pace is just so difficult for other fighters to keep up with, and he has shown a willingness to show off his power as of late. His last 2 fights, knocked out the Korean Zombie. Then at UFC 300, when he won the BMF championship, he knocked out Justin Gaethje. He didn't just knock him out. He did it in the most spectacular way possible. He knocked him out at the buzzer as the horn was sounding at UFC 300 to become the BMF champion. And this is Max Holloway's 30th UFC fight and 10th fight for an undisputed title, or just the UFC title in general, and 11th if you count the BMF title. But anyway, Max has that championship experience. He's been there. He's done that. He does have the 3 losses to Volk, but besides Volk, the last guy he lost to at 145 pounds in the UFC was Conor McGregor back in 2013. So unless it's been Volk, nobody else has been able to figure out Max Holloway, the Blessed Express. This guy brings it every time. He's so exciting when he steps foot in that octagon. You know you're gonna see an incredible show being put on by Max Holloway. But Max is over a 2-1 underdog in this fight, plus 220 as I see it. And I got Max Holloway to win this fight. That's my prediction. I think Max is going to win. I'm not going to guarantee it by finish, so I'm just going to say Max with the money line. But Ilia being over a 2-1 favorite is just very surprising to me. When this line came out, I was very, very shocked. Not because of how great that Ilia isn't great. He is great. But Max Holloway is just that darn good. He's so good, and he's so reliable, and he seems like he's only getting better. He was a champion years ago, but at 32 years old, this could be the best version of Max Holloway. If Max Holloway can beat Ilia Topuria and win back the featherweight title for the second time, become a 2-time featherweight champion, he has an argument to be fighter of the year, to be top 3 pound for pound at the very least, and his stock just continues to rise. He's so exciting, but on Ilia's end, like I said, he's talked a lot. He needs to back it up. He is 15-0. He is undefeated in the UFC as well. He's done it in spectacular fashion as well. Knocked out Volk. He dominated Josh Emmett. But this guy in Holloway, he's 4 inches taller. This is his toughest opponent because he's facing a guy in Max Holloway that just doesn't get fazed by much. It takes a lot to hurt Max Holloway. So I think that if Ilia is just coming into this fight thinking he is going to win this fight in the first or second round and not in it for the long haul, I think that's gonna be detrimental to to Poirier winning this fight, but I think Max is going to win this fight. Think he's going to become a champion again. The co-main event, this one is unbelievable. Like I said, it's Bobby Knuckles taking on Khamzat Chimaev. Though Chimaev's been out, he made weight this time. There's no struggles. He's back. He looks different a little bit. He has longer hair this time, but he seems like he's ready to go. His cardio's been in question in the Gilbert Burns fight, in the Kamaru Usman fight. But I think people are just sleeping on how good Chimaev was the last time he was in the octagon and the last time he was active. I know it's been quite some time since he made his debut back in 2020, but this guy is still one of the best contenders and up-and-coming fighters to not fight for a title yet. That's Chimaev. This guy is just, the pace that he puts on opponents is just a whole different level. He's so consistent when he gets in there. He's also undefeated like Topuria is. He's 13-0. His last two fights, or his last fight against Kamaru Usman was on short notice. Usman took that fight on just a week's notice. He beat him by decision. Some people thought he was fading towards the end, but I just think Chimaev, just like Max presents nightmare problems and matchup problems for Holloway, I think Chimaev does the same exact thing for Whitaker. He's the bigger guy. He has an 1.5-inch reach advantage. He's taller by 2 inches, and he is just so talented when he's taking people to the ground. Whitaker hasn't been taken down very easily and very much at all for that in his career. I think Chimaev, if he can get him to the ground early, I think he can finish Whitaker. I really do. I'm not counting Whitaker out by any means. I love Robert Whitaker. He had a huge knockout back in June when Chimaev pulled out of that fight. But I'm going to go with Whitaker to win this fight. He's minus 230. I think it's a little much. I don't think Whitaker is... I think his experience and just how many times he's proved doubters wrong, I think people are underestimating him. I wouldn't be shocked if Whitaker wins, but I'm going to go with Chimaev. Going down the card, Magomed Ankalaev, the number 1 ranked light heavyweight, taking on number 5 Alexander Rakic. Rakic is coming off of a loss back in April against Jiří Procházka. Ankalaev beat Johnny Walker, knocked him out in the second round. Earlier this year, he fought him twice. The first one ended due to eye poke. His fight before that was a draw in a title fight against Jan Blachowicz. So he hasn't had things go his way in the UFC as of late, but he's also unbeaten in 12 fights. People are counting him out as well. He is, I think, and I've said this the last couple fights since Alex Pereira won the light heavyweight title, Magomed Ankalaev is Alex Pereira's toughest test, without a doubt. If they fight, hopefully when they fight, that will be a fantastic matchup to test Alex's wrestling and him defending takedowns. But I think this line's pretty accurate. Magomed Ankalaev's over a 3-1 favorite. I think Ankalaev's going to finish Rakic. I think he's going to do it in the first 2 rounds like he did to Johnny Walker a couple months ago. And although he's unbeaten in 12 fights, Magomed Ankalaev needs to not just win, but do it in spectacular fashion in order to get a title shot and to impress the UFC brass. So I think he's going to get the job done there. Lerone Murphy, the Miracle, taking on Dan 50K Ige. A battle of 2 top 15 featherweights. The featherweight division is loaded, but Murphy is 14-0-1. He had a dominant victory over Edson Barbosa earlier this year. Dan Ige, as we know, he filled in just 4 hours' notice against Diego Lopez at UFC 300. I think Lerone Murphy is just an all-around better striker. And although Ige does have knockout power, and I wouldn't be shocked if he gets the upset, I'm riding with the Miracle in this one. I think he's going to win this one by decision. I think this could be a great fight. I think this even could be one of the best fights of the night. And the opening fight of this main card is Shara Magomedov taking Aaron Petrosyan. And this is a great matchup between 2 very talented strikers at 185 pounds. And I think Shara is going to move to 3-0 in the UFC. He isn't the best wrestler, but I don't think he's going to need that in this one. This is a perfect matchup for him. He's a slight favorite, but I think he just has it all. He has the look. When he's in there, he always puts his foot on the gas. He's trying to finish fights any chance he gets. Overall, this main card is unbelievable. UFC 308 is today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.